We were at the Legion in Bonanjo to respond or to answer to a convocation which Mimi was served with from the commander in second there. When we reached his office, he briefly read to all the charges that Mimi's investigations was required. And from those charges, we were able to picture out section 240 of the penal code, which is tagged as fake false news. So he read Mimi's Facebook page, wherein she published a news with respect to the death of the American missionary, which she said probably has been caused by fire exchanges between the Republican Army and the secessionist group, and that probably the bullet came from the military, from the Cameroon military. And she indicated the source of her information. We went further with her interrogation on the other alleged charge, wherein they say that she had published 10 pictures with respect to the Bambili incident, which has been liked and disliked by people and shared by people. She recognized the post and said it was not by her wish that those likes were being made or it was being shared. So at that instance, we could only gather 2 offenses: false news, criminality, which we that they are competent before the civil courts. The investigation was closed around 4 p.m. They said they were typing their statements. We were all surprised. Why that emergency? We said, well, if we have to wait, no problem. Around 6, a colonel brought to us a form that Mimi has to sign, and that form was her police custody. We objected to it and said, no, it is not called for. We said, no, the offenses for which Mimi MEFO is being investigated for or suspected to have been committed clearly provides that she can be granted bail under sections 117 of the Criminal Procedure Code. So we refused on that, and they went and they were brainstorming and came back, said, we have to meet the military state prosecutor. We were surprised around 8 that we have to go and meet the military state prosecutor. We wanted to know why were we to meet him. The offenses for which Mimi is being tried have no military connotation. They insisted, and we discovered that probably it's because the file came from the military tribunal and that they had to report to him the circumstances of the investigation. We said, okay, there was no problem going to him. When we arrived, the military state prosecutor, we were kept at his secretariat, and we have to insist that we want to meet him. He was surprised to even know that we were coming, meaning that everything already was planned. When we reached his office, the tune of the offenses that we came with changed, and they started saying that Mimi is being charged for acts of terrorism, or being charged under the terrorism law, that Mimi MEFO has caused, or her information has caused, injury to the integrity of the state. We're all surprised with those new facts just coming in. And we tried to buttress all the legal arguments and even the international treaty that Cameroon has ratified. All was falling on deaf ears. We understood that things are getting worse, and at around 10:30 p.m., we saw an escort of around 4 heavily armed gendarmes who came to handcuff her to drive her to the New Bell prison. As a lawyer, I am really very confused because I don't understand the evidence against Mimi MEFO that warrants her appearance before the military tribunal. In the file, we're not able to see any direct evidence for a civilian like her, who is not a military personnel, to be tried before the military court. They informed us that she will appear in court on Monday, and we shall remain to support her in the defense. Her trial and her detention are illegal on illegal allegations. They have not had sufficient elements to warrant her custody. We're not presented with such. She gave an information and she provided the source. They will leave the source and they attack her. So if this is not an attack maybe to English-speaking journalists, how will I coin it? So to me, I think they are not enabling the press to freely exercise its duties. Then what else of a normal citizen of the society? We believe that there is a very gross violations of some fundamental rights which are even enshrined in our constitution. Freedom of speech. We have ratified international conventions which today they want to make me believe as a lawyer that Cameroon is not a state of law, because I, who is even speaking today, I don't know if I won't be arrested.
It's truly that brought the liberty laws through which press freedom came. And we expect that if a press person makes a false statement, that false statement should be countered and investigations made. And not for some people to say we have press freedom, but you don't have to talk. I want all the press organs, the media, to come together to fight. Today is a day, tomorrow will be a day. And if there's any contributions you think I can make, please don't hesitate to let me know. Meanwhile, I wish her well and God's protection, and I hope that with the effort people are putting, she'll be released soon. I've condemned all the intimidations that are coming from the government in place to intimidate you, the journalists, so that you should not come out to publish the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, if they're doing that, it's not just for her, it's to intimidate other people so that you should not go in search of the truth. So I'll condemn it in the strongest terms and say that the government will not succeed in nipping the truth in bud and in intimidating the other people from doing investigative journalism to publish the truth. If members of the American missionary told her what she published, I think it was a place of government to also interview them and cross-examine what she said. If it's false, they can now counter with the information that they'll have from the family and try to use her to intimidate the other people. They won't succeed in doing that. Government should take note that they cannot do what they're doing and go free. Even if they go free now, those in government who are using it to maybe settle scores should take note that tomorrow is their day. They should see the other government ministers that are in prison, who were bringing it up at their peak here today they're in prison. Who read elections for government to be in place, today they're in prison trying to publish all that they did, which is not helping them.
Mimi MEFO Takambo was born in Bafoussam, West Region of Cameroon in 1988. She attended secondary and high school in Balinyonga, Northwest Region of the country. Mimi MEFO's journey to her position of journalist par excellence began in 2011, where she secured a Bachelor of Science in Journalism and Mass Communication from the renowned Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, University of Buea, Cameroon. After a show of excellence on High TV Buea, Mimi MEFO won her way into Equinox Radio and Television in 2012. MEFO's untamed journalism and communication skills exploded on Equinox Radio and Television. She proved herself unbeatable in television and radio presentation, anchoring news editions like the 6 a.m., midday, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Equinox Radio, as well as the 7 a.m., 9 a.m., midday, 4 a.m. and the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television, where she made her mark. As a reporter, Mimi MEFO stands amongst the few most daring and most courageous female journalists in Cameroon. She has been to places like Batibo, Balinyonga, Moyoka and Ekona, considered by many as a death trap in the heart of the deepening Anglophone crisis.
On 6th of May 2018, dozens of houses were set ablaze in Balangi, in Bonge subdivision of Meme, southwest region of Cameroon.
Award-winning journalist Mimi MEFO has been recognized with international and national awards. In 2016, she won the Best Video Investigator Award of Africa for NI. The Rising Force, Mimi MEFO, won the Best English Female Journalist Award of Fokako in 2017. In the same year, Mimi MEFO won the Scoop Media Award as the Best Female Journalist of the Year in Cameroon. As if not enough, in October this year, 2018, Mimi MEFO was named Journal Hero by the Committee to Protect Journalists. Though the resilient Mimi MEFO is in a Nube prison, her journalism career is far from hitting the bottom.
Just like any other big event in the country, the arrest of Equinox TV and Radio's English text editor-in-chief, Mimi MEFO Takambu, spread like wildfire on the social media, with most of the reactions coming from her colleagues. The general call was for her to be released immediately, saying that journalism isn't a crime. Others described the day as a sad one for journalism, while some reactions called for the solidarity to see her being set free. This other post says journalists are not criminals, while another says if Yaoundé is strong today, the future is pregnant with surprises, and urged the power that be free Mimi MEFO. Another urges Paul Biya to free Mimi MEFO, while another reaction simply says if Cameroon is auctioned, there will be no buyer.
Yeah, you're right to say that I was present in the whole event, and I'm counsel. I'm one of the lawyers for Mimi, and to be honest with you, we're so embarrassed and shocked with the turnout of events, because to us it's a politically motivated drama, so to put it, because we arrived at about 2 o'clock, and the interrogation took just about 30 minutes because she really had nothing to declare. The proofs were there. They brought their how do I put it? They brought their what they based on to accuse her, and on it was already mentioned the source in which she got it. So to us, we're very surprised that it turned out the way it did. But personally, I think that I was expecting such a thing, and I told Mimi that Mimi, I just want you to be very strong and know that you can come out from this place bigger than you entered, meaning that you go to prison and you come out bigger than what you were before entering. You see, all I'll tell Mimi directly is that she's a strong lady, and the law is on her side, and that we are resolute. The whole college of lawyers behind her, we are resolute to see that justice is being done. And I think it should be an incentive to other journalists to know that it's worth dying for your nation. It is worth saying something and believing in something. And as per the offenses that were brought against her, to be honest with you, we didn't see any sufficient proofs. And in court, we hope in the next days forward, we're told by Monday that the matter is going to be open for hearing by Monday. We'll be there. That is the legal department, the commissaire du gouvernement, bring those proofs that which we think is very sufficient to send me to New Bell. To me, it's a political drama.
Press freedom in Cameroon today has been totally reduced to nothing. The fact that Mimi MEFO have been put in prison for broadcasting and writing information that is true about this regime, for me, I look at it in this way. It's not Mimi MEFO that have been incarcerated. It is the press in Cameroon that have been closed down completely. This is some sort of intimidation. There is nothing this regime is trying to do rather than try to intimidate the press, not to report objectively as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. Today, people are being killed on daily basis. People are maltreated. Houses are burnt. Entire villages are reduced to nothing. And what this regime wants is for us not to report objectively. But I think the press, both national and international press, we continue to denounce this, asking the regime of this government or the government of this country to free Mimi MEFO. She's done nothing. She's just been a journalist, professional, reporting nothing but the truth, but yet they want to incarcerate her. Courage, Mimi MEFO. All will be well. And we pray that you join us one day outside here to report, to continue with the objective reporting. Courage, my dear sister.
Talking about Mimi MEFO's case, who is like a mentor and elder to me and a renowned journalist, this issue that came up around 11 p.m. really shocked me, because I remember November 2 was being celebrated, the International Day to End Impunity and Crimes Committed Against Journalists. But nevertheless, it's as if it didn't sound anything to any person's life. Then we still go finding such things happening in our community, happening in our country, because someone was trying to do her job. I remember Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, equally said he is with those journalists that do their job, and those journalists that are being intimidated because they are trying to do their job. And I equally pay tribute to Mimi MEFO. we all stand together to say Mimi MEFO was just doing her job, and I don't think there should be any problem with her doing her job or giving information on whatsoever. So we will all stand to pay tribute and equally stand behind her to support her as a journalist, and equally we say the truth never dies.
First of all, to rally behind her, because we are working in a corporation, we are all journalists, and we think, I think, when a journalist is in a situation like that, the first thing to do is to be behind her, to show her support, and that's why most of us, we were the gendarmerie legion in Bonanjo, like to show her that we are together with her, to show that we are with her, that we are supporting her, that we are behind her. We should be fooling ourselves to think that it is an isolated case. No. What has happened, or what happened to Mimi, can happen to any one of us. So we are still outside, we are still free, and I think we should just show that we are together with her, right? Show that we are supporting her, and we are behind her. She should not feel discouraged, abandoned, because she's not alone, because we are with her, and we'll do what it takes. We'll do all we can to free her to the authorities. We are not enemies. Journalists are not enemies, journalists are not criminals, journalists are professionals, and I think they should help us to continue to be professional, the professional we have been all this while.
I felt really bad when I learned about the information, and it is equally heartbreaking to know that those who speak the truth are instead being targeted. I know so many journalists now feel discouraged, they feel threatened, they feel intimidated, which is really unhealthy for this profession. I think we just have to be watchful of what we report right now, because this incident is just an indication that this is not the right time to practice objectivity.
This is a corner in Moyoka subdivision, Fako division of the southwest region of Cameroon, which was before now a very busy locality, which is a ghost of its former self. Many business premises have simply been deserted. We can see how business premises are simply closed down. Microfinance institutions, banks are not functioning. Local inhabitants have deserted their homes. We visited several homes. We were unable to see families, children, women, fathers that have escaped to nearby bushes where they are seeking refuge.
Ekona is situated just 5 kilometers from Boya, but the atmosphere here is completely different from what prevails in the Southwest Regional Headquarters and neighboring Moyoka in Fako Division.
Reporting from Ekona for Equinox Television News, we are Emos Fongo, Eric Masianjomo, and Mimi MEFO.
The people in this deserted village were not sure to tell their stories, but the picture on the ground speaks volumes of the devastating consequences of the Anglophone crisis in this locality.
On the 6th of May 2018, dozens of houses were set ablaze in Balangi, in Bongé subdivision of Meme, southwest region of Cameroon. This is the aftermath of what occurred. As we can see, this is one of the most visited areas. It was a popular drinking spot here in Balangi. We can see how bottles have been shattered here on the floor as a result of the fire disaster that took place that night. We talked to some local inhabitants who made us to understand that security forces were behind the burning of houses here in Balangi, but we could not independently verify the veracity of this information.
On the structures were burnt household items and other valuables. Most of these roadside structures, which are now in ruins, were business premises and home to dozens whose whereabouts is now unknown. We approached some of the doors, knocked, but no one answered.
This is one of the private residences here in Balangi. We can see that it's been practically deserted. The doors are practically closed and it's nightfall. Nobody's here. We can knock and nobody's here to open the doors. And if we keep moving, we'll see that it's a similar scenario almost all over. We cannot tell where the people are. or where they actually escaped to. But it's obvious that the chaotic atmosphere pushed them out of their houses here in Balangi. This is actually the atmosphere. Several houses, even those that have been rented by tenants, have simply been deserted. This is Balangi.
And we left Balangi without speaking to a single individual.
We see that Balangi has been simply abandoned by local inhabitants here. Not even a single soul could be spotted. A few that we saw moving about, not even up to 5 of them, could not tell us what is exactly pushing the people to flee this locality of the southwest region of Cameroon. Balangi is now a ghost of its former self. Several houses deserted. No business is moving on here. We cannot see business premises open here because of the chaotic atmosphere that is reigning now in the southwest region of the country. We can see houses have been abandoned. We equally have information that mothers, kids, as well as young girls and young boys are now seeking refuge in some interior localities and in bushes. We could only see some living souls like animals, like this cat that we can see here in Balangi that has simply been abandoned by its owners. We could equally see fowls here in Balangi. It is a chaotic atmosphere. This is the picture of Balangi few hours to the May 20th celebration in the southwest region of the country. For Equinox Television from Balangi, Mbonge Subdivision, Meme, southwest region of Cameroon, we are Amos Fongo, Eric Masianjomo, and Mimi MEFO.